This is Chuck Wolf, and you're listening to the Emotion Roadmap. Take the wheel and control how you feel. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, and I know we have people who are watching now, and when you're watching the show, it's not recorded live. But if you want to watch this, if you want to listen to the show live, you want to listen to WPKN 89.5 FM in the Bridgeport area at wpkn.org. So anyone can listen live. I'm on the first, second, and fourth Wednesdays of every month from 12 to 1 p.m. My show is all about helping people understand how to take what we're learning about emotions and emotional abilities and emotional intelligence and make your lives better if we can. Because when people call my show, it's usually because they're stuck. In my experience, smart people often get stuck when there's something going on that has strong emotions involved. So what does it mean to be emotionally intelligent? You can actually plan emotionally what you want to feel. The science of emotions, the research that's happening in emotional intelligence tells us that there are particular emotions that are better suited for certain tasks than other emotions. Now, the science doesn't go into a lot of depth about what emotions go best with what task, but I think we can figure that out. If we ask ourselves, hey, what is it that I've got coming up? Well, let's say I've got a speech to make to a group of high-level executives, and it's coming up in 2 weeks, and it's a group that is going to be dealing with a lot of change, and I want to talk to them in a way that's very constructive so that they understand all the aspects of emotional intelligence that can help make that change better for them. I have one chance, one opportunity to stand in front of a group of people and make them understand the power of understanding that you can plan emotionally what you want people to experience when you're going through changes that are going to have major impact. This idea of emotional intelligence, this idea of emotions and planning for emotions has a lot to do with my emotion roadmap. So people that may want to call in, if you're a new listener, let's say you're having a conflict with a person that works for you, or a person you work for, or somebody that works alongside you. If you've got something that's going on that you're not sure how to address because you're worried about escalating or you're just really uncertain about what to do, give me a call. The whole concept of the emotion roadmap is to listen a little bit to the context of your situation and then ask you, what are you feeling? And if there's one or more key people involved, what do you suspect he or she or they are feeling? And once we figure out what people are feeling, that's the idea of identifying emotions. There's 4 parts to this. First, you identify who the key people are, you always, but whoever else is key. What is it that you are feeling? That's number 1. And what is it that someone else that might be key is feeling? Number 2 is, what would be ideal to feel? This is the use of emotion. The idea, if we know from science that certain emotions are better than other emotions for a particular task, then why not stop and think about, well, what would be best for this task that I have, or this challenge that I have, or this opportunity that I have? What would be the best emotion for that? Right? What would be the best emotion for that? Once we determine what we are feeling, and then we determine what's ideal to feel for ourselves and for others that are key, then we put a plan together that says, how do we get from where we are to where we want to go? So the journey starts with understanding that where we are, we don't want to stay. Then we have to decide where are we going. And once we know where we're going, then we start planning. This is the understanding how emotions work. And there's a couple of parts to this as well, the way I define it. One is we understand how emotions work. We understand if we're enraged, we're not going to be calm quickly. It's going to take some time. So we want to understand how emotions work, the science of emotions. But then we also want to understand who you are. Because I think there's a science and then there's the art to emotional intelligence, which is understanding what's going to work for you. So we explore possibilities of how we can get you from feeling, let's say, anxious to confident. We want to explore how can we do that. And as we explore possibilities and we start to settle on a few that sound reasonable to us, I then ask you the question, which is about the 4th part of the model, which is managing emotions, which to me is about, if I've got a strategy to move from point A to point B, from anxious to confident, and a strategy that seems reasonable, I have to ask 2 questions to know whether it's really a viable plan. The first question is, am I really capable of doing what I just said? Is the plan really something that I have the ability to get done? That's number one. Number two is, if I'm able, the second question is, am I willing? If you've got something going on in your life where you're stuck, and I say this pretty regularly, I think oftentimes smart people, they're stuck when something emotional is happening. Most of the time, smart people, if it's not emotional, good critical thinkers, good problem solvers, they're on it. They're going to deal with it. They'll make it happen without too much difficulty, even when it's very challenging. But when there's something emotional in play, that throws off the most brilliant of us, because we're not always sure what the repercussions are if we don't get it right emotionally. Isn't that true? If we don't get it right emotionally, even with people we love, sometimes it makes it very hard to have the relationship be as good as it was before we dealt with the issue that's in play. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for listening and tuning in. I want to thank all the regular listeners and any new listeners. Please tell other people about our show. We really like to spread the word, and I hope everybody's learning a bit about how to be more emotionally intelligent out there.